Early voting is underway in Utah ahead of the state's June 26th primary election. In what is perhaps the marquee race there this year, former presidential candidate Mitt Romney is challenging state lawmaker Mike Kennedy for the Republican Senate nomination. They have already sparred over President Trump in a race that's included everything from religion to real estate. The winner will take on Democrat Jenny Wilson, a Salt Lake City councilor, in November's general election. Joining me now is Jason Perry. He's the director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics at the University of Utah. And Jason joins me now from Salt Lake City. Welcome, Jason.
Good to be with you.
So early voting started Tuesday. A poll from the group Utah Policy from the end of May gave Mitt Romney a 43-point lead over Kennedy. What does Romney need to do to hold on to that lead ahead of the election?
Well, he's already doing a lot of the right kinds of things. This lead is something he's held the entire time. He has huge margins of victory when he ran for president from the state of Utah. Really what he needs to do right now is just stay on message and not take the bait. And some of it is being thrown out to him by his opponent.
Well, how is Kennedy trying to position himself, and what are voters' opinions of him?
Well, these are two very, very different campaigns. Mike Kennedy is a member of our state legislature. He's a doctor, and he's much more conservative than Mitt Romney is. In fact, that's kind of his campaign, is when it comes to Donald Trump, when it comes to conservative policies, he's the one. He's the one that has the right vision for the state of Utah, which is different than what is happening with Mitt Romney. In fact, just this last week, when he had business leaders from around the country at his home in Park City, he said, "I'm not for or against Donald Trump. I'm for the policies." And that's very much different than how Michael Kennedy is approaching his campaign.
Well, at his annual E2 summit this past weekend, Romney reportedly predicted that President Trump would win re-election in 2020. A day later, the president called Romney a, quote, straight shooter. But Romney has been critical of the president in the past, so why the change in tone?
Well, it's interesting to measure what the change actually is, because the rhetoric definitely has gotten toned down. You may be able to see the speech that Romney gave from the Hinckley Institute of Politics a couple of years ago. It was pretty harsh. But I think I'm looking at the statement from Park City from Mitt Romney a little differently now. He's really trying to make it so it's not about President Trump necessarily. I don't think he's going to go after him the way he did before, but Utah is sort of divided on the popularity of President Trump. You cannot win in Utah by being the foil of or the champion of Donald Trump. You got to blaze your own path, which is what Mitt Romney's doing.
Interesting. Well, have the spats between Romney and the president been forgotten?
Very few are forgetting about it. The two of them seem to be acting like it's okay because that's politics. That was yesterday. Today is today. But many people are remembering that. And as we get ready to go into our first primary here between the two candidates, we'll see if it's resonated very well or not. The reality is Michael Kennedy has a huge amount of ground to try to make up if he's going to. And there's only 9% of the state that is not already decided. So there's really not even a lot of room for him to pick it up.
Well, you touched on this, but how is Mike Kennedy trying to use Romney's on-again, off-again praise and criticism of the president to his advantage?
Well, there are a couple things he's doing. One, he's trying to talk about how he knows Utah better than Mitt Romney, that he is the Utah conservative. He can get around the state, and he knows everything there is to know about how to handle politics here. And so that's part number one, really. The second one is, well, he's trying to tell Mitt Romney, you're going to have to pick a side on this, all right? You're going to have to decide what you are and start deciding what the policies. Of course, Mitt Romney feels like he has done that, but Mitt Romney is trying to find the ground where he says, I'm not defined really by what President Trump does or doesn't do. And that really is what we're going to see with this election. Mitt Romney is a favorite son inside the state, so it's really kind of hard to say he's not Utahn. Utahns believe that he is.
Jason Perry, thank you so much for your insight. Really appreciate it.